Good morning, everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. Good morning. What's up? What's up? Today is September the 26th. It's a Friday today. We just had some red folder news yesterday. The overall market's getting bought back up. So opening drive play towards the downside yesterday. Overall, we're still technically underneath your lows that we've created here on Wednesday on the SPY and the QQQ. As for some of the names, we're going to talk about some names coming to market open. We do have core PCE as well. So we do have some red folder news that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So basically same game plan as yesterday. We're just going to go over some charts and tickers for the first 30 minutes, and then we'll just wait for that red folder news event to occur, and then we'll develop our game plan from there. All right, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Good morning, Jeff, Victor, True, Cash, B Roots. Good morning, Monty, Wayne, Jen, Cinna, Jesse, 50, Hartik, Martin. Good morning, I am, Deuce, Robert, Arnold, Eileen, CJ, Miss Reggie, Vate, Co, Andreas, BGP. Good morning, Patrick, Norwin, Danny. Good morning, Carl, Sal. What's up? Yeah. What's up, everyone? Hope you guys are doing well. First things first, let me pull up the economic calendar. So as you can see here for today, we do have some red folder news that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have core PCE. And then we have some revised consumer sentiment that is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we'll just wait for the core PC that is going to be at 8:30 in about half an hour. So we'll just go over some charts and what we're looking for in the levels coming into today. And then we're going to develop our game plan, finalize game plan coming to market open once 8:30 hits. Before we get started, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that's in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event, it's most likely going to be the last time to do so. It is going to start on Sunday. So if you guys haven't registered already, that's in the description below. And of course, if you haven't seen more details, right, we have emails being sent out every day now for the event that is going to be in a few days. Okay. First things first, let's go on to the major indices and let's go on to the higher time frames here. So first things first, we're here on the ES. The levels that we talked about yesterday was really this level right here, which is the area that we broke down from. 6680 here on the higher time frames. Since we're underneath this key level, the next level is all the way back down in towards your 6640, and we also have your 6620 towards the downside. So currently coming into today here for the ES, we ended up trying to gravitate down in towards that level. We made a low here with the QQQ. You can see so far we're just kind of defending your previous day lows here. Levels that we're going to have marked out coming into today is going to be your previous day highs along with your previous day lows, which is your 6630. So for the ES, I'm actually just going to refine this level back in towards your 6680. But for the ES coming to market open, what I'd like to see is a reaction that we have off of your previous day, your Wednesday's lows, which is your 6680. So for the QQQ, along with the ES, what I'd like to see is a reaction that we have off your 6680s. If you want to see some upside, really now it's going to be the break above your previous day highs along with this 6680 for a potential push towards the upside. This is the key level that we broke down from, so it's going to have to reclaim this level if you want to see any sort of upside. So right off the bat, if you want to see a push higher, that's a possible scenario. Another possible scenario is we kind of build higher lows off of your previous day lows and here in the pre-market as well. And you're going to be looking for the reclaim back above this level later into the day. So that's what we have for the ES coming to market open. As for some downside, I'm interested in downside if you can show a little bit weaker price action. Key levels that we're going to have marked out today, pre-market lows along with this 6680s, potential pop and fade off this level for this continued push back towards the downside. Another scenario that we have here as well is the break back underneath. Now it's going to be your pre-market lows. If you could break underneath your pre-market lows, there is a potential that we can see your previous day lows, which is your 6630. If the overall market pushes higher right off the bat, then most likely we're just going to come right back into your Wednesday's lows. And there's a good chance we probably won't have as nice price action coming into market open. If you look at the SPY here, the key levels that we have marked out is going to be your 660, which is your Wednesday's lows here as well. So as you can see here for the SPY, this is basically the area that we broke down from. If you look at this on the higher time frames, you can see multiple touches. So this is a very key level here for SPY. Now this is a level we'd like to see reclaim if you want to see any sort of continue push higher. So what we have marked out is your previous low that we created here on Wednesday along with your previous day highs. If you want to see some upside, as I mentioned, reclaim back above this level, you can see a potential push back up in towards your 661, which will be your close here from Wednesday. This is a possible scenario here on SPY. Another scenario here as well, if we consolidate, potentially break later into the session towards that 661. So this is going to be the key level coming to today. We have your 660 marked out along with your previous day highs. If we're looking for some downside, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. I am still somewhat interested in downside if we can either reject off your 660, as I mentioned, potential pop and fade, or primarily it's going to be the break now underneath your pre-market lows for potential move back down in towards your 657 and potentially below, which is your 655. We have marked out on the SPY coming into market open along with the ES. If we are looking for some downside, right? SPY is weaker than the QQQ. So we're definitely going to be keeping an eye out on SPY instead of the Qs themselves. So for the NQ and the QQQ chart, as you can see here on the 1 hour time frame, this one's still fairly bullish. At least it's more bullish than the SPY in itself. We're back up and towards your Wednesday's lows. Other levels that we have marked out here as well is just your FOMC highs, which you can see the markets are trying to defend. But coming into today here for the NQ, the key levels that we have marked out, as I mentioned, Wednesday's lows. So you can have this marked out. What we like to see, break above your Wednesday's lows, reclaim above that, hold above your Wednesday's lows for a potential pushback towards the upside. Next levels back towards the upside, previous day highs along with your close that we created here on Wednesday, which is back up and towards your 24,740 here. So that's what we have for the NQ coming into market open. If we reject off this level, as I mentioned, potential pop and fade is in play, or if you like to see some more downside underneath your pre-market lows for continuation potentially down in towards your previous day low. So keep an eye out on your 24,660s, which essentially is your Wednesday's lows coming into market open. Very key level, multiple touches yesterday as well. If you look at the QQQ, fairly similar game plan coming to market open. Key level that we have marked out 593, which is your Wednesday's lows. If we can get above it, hold above this level, we can see a potential move back towards the upside, which will be towards your previous day highs and this previous day close. Another scenario, right, break above your previous day highs for this push up in towards your 597. If you'd like to see some downside, now it's going to be underneath your Wednesday's lows. We can see a potential push down in towards your 590. So 593.50, very key here on the higher time frames coming into market open. So this is going to be your Wednesday's lows, multiple touches. So we'll keep an eye out on your 593. Sorry, it's basically your 594 here on the QQQ coming into today. So that's what we have for the major indices, SPY, Qs, ES, and NQ as well. Now let's go on to some tech names that we have coming into today. Let's see, can you please explain why you're still bullish on chart now forming lower highs? So right here you can see intraday, if we're looking at this on, let's say for example on the QQQ, we're looking at this on the 1 hour time frame. I would consider the 1 hour time frame, if you're looking at this week's price action, right, if you're looking at Mondays, I would consider this more bearish for the week, right? Because we had that nice opening drive, we're pushing underneath, holding underneath key levels here as well, right? I'll consider this week more bearish, fairly neutral, but more bearish just because now we're underneath your Monday's lows. If you zoom out, technically we're still bullish, right? Higher lows. If you're on the 1 hour chart, you zoom out even more, still bullish on the higher time frame. So whenever this occurs, we basically don't have time frame alignment. So the 15 minutes bearish, I would consider the 1 hour time frame bearish for this week. But if you zoom out on the daily chart, we're still technically bullish, right? Daily chart, if you look at the ES or NQ, we're still bullish here on the higher time frame. So whenever these time frames aren't aligned, I'm going to be interested in playing both sides, right? So we don't have a clear bias. What we have in this case is what's called a soft bias. So we're open to playing both sides of the markets. Whenever we have a hard bias, is something that's very bullish. It's super clear. All the time frames are aligned. That's when we have something called a hard bias. When we have a soft bias, time frames aren't aligned and we're going to be open and playing both sides. So something like a hard bias, I'll show you guys here in a second, something like Intel, right? Very clear, or some other names like even Tesla has a fairly hard bias. It's kind of flipped now, but we'll talk about some names here in a second. Okay, let's go on to Tesla. Video 5-minute opening range. Yeah, I have a bunch of videos on that. I talk about this all the time here in the pre-market here as well. As for Tesla, the key levels that we have marked out is your 440. You can see higher lows are still being built here on the higher time frames. Currently, we're having a little bit of a pullback here on Tesla, but still fairly bullish here on the higher time frames. Key levels that we're going to have marked out is your 430. So 430 is still key. As you can see here on Tesla, we've had multiple touches. 430, use this as support. Once we got above, nice continue push towards the upside. Now ultimately broke back underneath your 430, and now we're pushing back down in towards that 420 along with your 416. So as you can see here, on the Tesla chart, key levels that we have marked out is your 420 along with this 430. 430 is a minimum reclaim that I'd like to see, right? Number one scenario, Tesla reclaim back above your previous day lows, buyers step in off your 420 for a pushback towards your 430. Another scenario which I'd like would be that 430 hold. 430 hold, we can see this nice continued pushback towards the upside here. As for some downside here on Tesla, I'm only interested in downside if it broke underneath your 420. Use this as now resistance for continuation lower. So for Tesla, only way I'm interested in downside, 422. Higher time frame, in my opinion, still fairly bullish. So I'd much rather look for scenario one or scenario number two. If we're looking at this week's price action based off Monday, right, not really that clear. There's a better chance that for Friday, at least coming into the market today, after a pretty big move this week, there's a good chance, unless a core PCE comes in and we have a lot of volatility, most likely the markets are going to slowly kind of just mean reverse and slowly push back towards the upside, right? The only way we see some more downside for the week now, right, on the overall indices is at a minimum, right, it's going to have to break underneath your pre-market lows along with this 657. And for the Qs, it's definitely going to be a little bit trickier, but it's going to have to break underneath, similar thing, kind of reject off this 593 and really break underneath this 591. So downside, we'll just keep an eye out on the overall indices for the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes as well. But overall market technically still bullish here on the daily chart. As for AMD, this one looks good here as well. Obviously, it's consolidating here on the hourly chart along with the daily chart. But once we're able to finally break back above this 163, right, we're going to have this nice pushback towards the upside. But currently, we're just kind of consolidating in between a range here on AMD. So I'd be very cautious just trading in between these ranges. Key levels that we have marked out, 162. You have your 155 and we also have your 159.50. So for AMD, we're basically in the middle of the range here. If you want to see upside, now the only way I'm interested is really the break above your 162. Key levels that we have marked out is your 161.50s. And if we have your 160 retest, we can see continuation higher here as well. So that's what we have for AMD. As for NVIDIA, key levels that we have marked out, similar thing, just kind of consolidating basically within inside Monday's range here now. Key levels that we have marked out, let me just get rid of this. It's going to be number one, we can mark out your previous day highs and we can drag this over. Let's draw out this box. And then we also have another couple key levels, basically your previous day lows. And we have your 175.50s and we have other levels like 178 here as well. So for NVIDIA, we have actually a couple key levels. We had a pretty big move yesterday, so most likely NVIDIA today, we're most likely going to have an inside bar day. But for upside, really it's going to be the break above 180 or kind of the base above your 178 for a continuation back up and towards your 180. For some downside, it's going to be a little bit trickier, but either the pop and fade off your 178 or now it's going to be underneath your 175.50 for a continuation towards your previous day lows 173 here on the higher time frame. So that's what we have for Nvidia. This one's more neutral than anything. If you're just looking at this week's price action, you can see Monday's open fairly close to Monday's open. So we made a new high for the week. We made a new low for the week. Most likely we're just going to be inside of this range here on Nvidia. As for Google pulled back yesterday right into key areas. You can see nice kind of buyers stepping in right off your 242. This one's pushing back towards the upside. You had a little bit of news here in the after hours. But currently now for Google, right back into your previous day highs. Key level 248. If you want to see upside, break above 248, continuation, potentially up and towards your after hours highs, which will be your 250. If you want to see some downside, potential pop and fade for continuation down in towards your 246. So that's what we have here for Google. As for Amazon, this is one of my names that I'm interested in for some more downside. Key levels that we have marked out is your 220. So 220 here is your Wednesday's lows. You can mark this out multiple touches. Tried retesting right off the bat. And then ultimately, once it got back underneath later into the session, nice drop towards the downside. Key level 220 Wednesday's lows. If you can maintain underneath this, we can see continuation down in towards your previous day lows, which will be your 216. If you break back above your 219, we can see it push back up into in towards your 221s. So that's what we have here for Amazon. As for Apple, this one is one of my names that I'm fairly bullish on here on the higher time frames. You can see nice continue push higher, nice kind of flag pattern that's forming. Ended up pushing up in towards your 257 yesterday. A little bit of reaction off of your 257 currently. What I would like to see now is primarily this inverse head and shoulders. Maintain above your 253 for this push up and towards your 257. So that's what I have for Apple. Key levels I'm going to have marked out today. 253.50. This is really where I want to see the buyers step in for a potential push back up and towards. Now it's going to be your previous day highs and above. What I would like to see moving forward for Apple, at least in the next few sessions, is a potential kind of flat top break. Once you get that flat top, this is going to look good for a push up and towards your all-time high. So that's what we have for Apple coming into today in the next few days. As for Meta, this one's right back into a key level, which is our 745. Not too much to talk about on this one. Similar with Netflix consolidating here as well. And then for Microsoft, just kind of right around this 510. So not too much to talk about on this. Okay. We have about 10 minutes until red folder news. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over now, I'll go over them for the next about 10 minutes, and then we'll wait for core PCE, which is going to be at 8:30, and then we'll develop our game plan from there. Okay, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers you'd like me to go over, you guys can drop them in the chat, and I will go over them for the next 5 to 10 minutes. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate it if you drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that's in the description below. And of course, if you guys haven't joined the wait list for the event, that is coming up in about 2 days. So that's something you don't want to miss. If you guys haven't joined that, you guys should be receiving emails here as well for registration for the event. Okay, let's go over some tickers here. Oracle, this one does have a gap fill towards the downside here as well. What platform are you using? I'm personally using Interactive Brokers, at least for the trading software. This is TradingView. Why are you bullish? I'm not bullish. Right, I'm neutral. I have a soft bias. I'm open to playing both sides. Whenever you have kind of conflicting time frames, I was bearish. I was bullish earlier into the week until Jerome Powell, right? Monday was bullish. Jerome Powell had some news that was key on Tuesday. Once he had the comments, essentially flipped bearish. But now for the overall markets, I'm more neutral than anything. I'm actually leaning a little bit more towards the downside, but I have a soft bias. So I'm open to playing both sides. And especially for day trading, you should be open to playing both sides here as well. Okay, for Oracle, so we have this daily gap. I tried looking for Oracle continuation lower yesterday. A little bit too aggressive, but higher time frames. key level is this 292. So for Oracle, key levels that we have marked out is now going to be your 292. If you maintain underneath your 292, potentially we could see some more downside here on the overall markets underneath your 292 for this full gap fill towards the downside. We had some news in the after hours along with the pre-market here as well. So that's something to keep in mind. But for Oracle, 292 is going to be key if you want to see some upside, reclaim back above your 292 for this continuation higher. So for Oracle coming to market open, this is what you want to have marked out. 292 here. We also have your previous day lows 290. So for Oracle, if you want to see downside, as I said, rejection off your 292 for a continuation down in towards your previous day lows. If we get back above your 292, potentially we could see your previous day highs, which will be your 298. So that's what we have coming to market open here for Oracle. This is something you should keep an eye on just based off the higher time frames. It is in a very key spot here. Let's go on to AVGO. Another one where we had just a clear level being that 332. Also a gap here on the higher time frame. So the key levels that we have on AVGO is your 332. This is the day where we have earnings, nice push towards the upside. Basically your earnings low, 332. You can see markets are just trying to defend this level currently. If you do want to see some upside now, right, break back above your previous day highs, potentially we can see a nice bounce here on AVGO. So key levels that we're going to have marked out, previous day highs 338. What you'd like to see now, really break above your 338 previous day highs for potential push towards the upside, or now it's going to be really the bounce off 332 for continuation higher. Some downside underneath 332 at a minimum for this continuation down in towards your previous day lows. Key levels that we have for Palantir is your 184 along with this 177. So this is basically the range that we can have drawn out here for Palantir, right? High of the range. We also have the low of the range being your 177. If you want to see some upside, either the bounce off the low of the range, or now it's going to be the break above your 184 for continuation. For some downside underneath your 177, or of course the rejection off your 184. So for Palantir here, key levels that we have marked out 177. I'm still fairly bullish here on the hourly chart. Now we just like to see, right, kind of the base above your 177, break above that 184 for now this continue push back up in towards our all-time highs, which will be your 189. So that's what we have for Palantir coming into today. As for a few other names that we have, OKLO, this one had a little bit of a bigger pullback. You can see buyers are trying to step in off this 110. Key levels that I like to see, and what I will have marked out now will be your previous day highs here as well, 122. So for OKLO, right, either the bounce off your 110, or now it's going to be consolidation, break above your 122 previous day highs for this continue push back towards the upside. So this is what we have for OKLO coming into market open. As for SoFi, key levels that we have marked out as well is going to be this 2840s. 2840s, this is your previous all-time highs at a minimum, needs to reclaim if you want to see continuation higher. As for a few other tickers, Hood. So you can see a lot of these names starting to pull back just a little bit here now with the overall indices themselves. So you can see Hood and a couple of these names. Where you're going to be mainly focused on now is the tickers that have the most relative strength and that are holding compared to the overall market. So something that's holding up is Intel. I'll talk about this one here in a second. But for Hood, key levels that we're just going to have marked out, previous day lows along with your previous day highs, 125. A lot of these tickers, especially if it's slower, something like Hood, I'll be a little bit more cautious on this. But key levels, yeah, 121 along with this 125. Those are just essentially your previous day highs along with your previous day lows. Do you ever utilize AMD setup in your day trading? Are you talking about AMD, like accumulation, manipulation? Yeah, like that's more of a reversal setup. So whenever you're looking at that, I trade continuation. So a lot of times if you're trading that, it's primarily based off a reversal setup. But key levels that we have is IWM is going to be your 239. 239 key level in the higher time frame along with this 244. What I like to see here now is, really just the reaction that we have off your 239 50s. If you can maintain above, right? When charts aren't as clear here as well, it just makes it a little bit more complicated. So for IWM key level previous day lows, 238, which is essentially your FOMC lows. And then we can also technically refine this level here, which will be your previous day highs along with this 240. So these are the levels I just have marked out: previous day highs, previous day lows here on IWM. Let's go over a few more other tickers here as well. Let's see, which markets do you trade? Options, futures, forex. I trade major like indices, options, stocks, and I trade a little bit of futures as well. UNH, do you use opening range break and pre-market strategies as continuation? So yeah, continuation. We have higher time frame key levels, which will be let's say your previous day highs, previous day lows, and then we'll have intraday levels marked out, which will be your opening range breaks, right? Pre-market highs and pre-market lows, and those will be used as key levels as well. Obviously, the higher time frame levels are going to be the most important, and then we can also draw out intraday levels here as well. So for UNH, this one, nice kind of bounce here. Now pulling back just a little bit. Key levels for UNH coming into this week that we have marked out. Now it's just going to be your previous day lows. We can mark out here. We can also mark out, yeah, really main level 344. You want to see any sort of upside, maintain above 344 for continuation. If you break underneath, you can see some continuation back towards the downside. Is break-even price important if you're day/swing trading and not planning to hold till expiration? Break-even price. I mean, that's important if you, let's say, if you want to manage your position. So let's say you take some scales off and now price, you're just letting price run. So you can have few either contracts break even if you're not planning to, but break even, having a break even stop should only apply once you hit, right, your first few profit targets. Then you should move your stop to break even. All right, so a good ticker like this is Intel that's showing a lot of relative strength. This is basically where most time frames are aligned. As you can see here, kind of base, nice continuation, gap up. Now for Intel, broke back above a key level here on Wednesday, and now we're having some nice continuation. So the key level that we marked out here on Wednesday was our 30 key psych. You can see once we broke above this key pivot level, you can see turned into support for a continuation higher. Now we end up having a really solid push towards the upside. So key levels that we have marked out on Intel is our 3350. Nice opening drive play yesterday towards upside. Now other levels that we're going to have marked out here as well. Previous day highs. So previous day highs here on Intel, 3440s is your higher time frame key level. Another gap up in the pre-market as well. So for Intel, if you can get that dip down in towards that previous day highs, that would be a really solid for continuation higher. There's a good chance Intel probably just continues higher without dipping. Another scenario is the pre-market low for kind of that opening dip and rip for continuation towards your pre-market highs and above. So keep an eye out on Intel coming to market open either off your 35 key psych or all the way back down in towards your previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. Okay, we just had core PCE numbers here as well. Okay. So yeah, we just had core PCE numbers here that came into the markets. Forecasted was 0.2, basically just came in flat. So came in line with expectations. 0.2 here as well. The next one is going to be consumer sentiment. That is going to be at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As you can see, markets pushing back. We talked about this kind of small gap fill that we have back towards the upside. So this is most likely going to be the draw coming to market open. If you look at the ES here as well, right, we have this gap fill that we created here yesterday. So there's a good chance markets are just going to rebalance price and come back up and towards that gap fill. So for the ES coming into today, right, key levels, as I mentioned, is going to be your previous low that we created here on Wednesday. And then for the NQ, similar thing, we're above it now here in the pre-market. So we're going to come back into your previous day close. So for the overall markets, as you can see here, yeah, previous day close is going to be key here for SPY, along with this low that we created on Wednesday. We're just going to most likely mean reverse back inside the range. So there's a good chance, at least coming to market open, at least today, right? Come back into it, that previous gap fill. We're still technically could see that fade off of your previous day close, but now with kind of core PC pushing a higher, the only way I'd be interested in shorts would now be either the break back underneath your Wednesday's lows for a potential continuation lower, or for the QQQ, it would be the break back underneath your 594, which would be your Wednesday's lows. So overall, right, higher for the markets to move higher, it's going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to keep an eye out on your previous day highs. I'm going to be fairly neutral coming to market open. So we'll just see what the reaction is within the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes here on the QQQ. But game plan is now, right, we're above your Wednesday's lows, which is my key level. Similar thing here with SPY. We're kind of just driving up in towards your Wednesday's lows. So we'll keep an eye out on SPY 660s, which is going to be key, as I mentioned. If we reject off this level, potential pushback down in towards your previous day lows. If you can now get above, maintain above your 660s, you can see a potential push back up and towards your previous day close in 661. Okay. So that's what I have for the major indices coming into market open. As for the rest of the names, I'm sure most of the things haven't changed here. But yeah, for the rest of the names, the levels are really still intact. Tesla's still key level is going to be your 430. As for everything else, Amazon, yeah, downside really off the table unless you can get back underneath 219. But this one, more neutral than anything here, showing some nice strength actually, breaking back above your 219. Apple key level, not really showing too much strength. Key level for Apple is going to be this 253 along with this 256. And then for the rest of the tickers, a lot more consolidation here. So key levels coming to today. Let me go over some few other tickers here as well. And then I'm going to get ready for market open. But primarily for upside, we're just going to keep an eye out on the major indices themselves. Intel, as you can see, everything's red. You can see most tickers are red here on the right-hand side on this watch list. If you're looking at these names here as well, almost everything is red. And if you're looking at the only name that's really green is Intel in itself. So we'll keep an eye on Intel. Next key levels towards the upside is going to be this key pivot high, which is your 3690s. And then we also have your 36 as well. So for Intel, these are the levels that we have towards the upside. So for this ticker, as I mentioned, potential kind of dip and rip is in play, either off of your 35 key psych or all the way back down in towards that previous day high. So keep an eye out on Intel coming to market open. We'll keep an eye on this one for some more strength towards the upside. As for a few other tickers here as well, let me just quickly scan for some other names. Let me go over open here. So for open, this key, the ticker that we have in the levels that we have marked out is your 860. We have multiple touches here. We're reclaiming back above your 720. This is the key level in the higher time frames that I talked about. Reclaiming this key level here as well. What I like to see now, hold above your 860 for a potential continued push back up and towards now. The next key level is going to be this 1060s. So for open, key level 860s. If you get underneath, you can see a little bit more downside, but so far buyers are defending this 860, and I like to see this continue push back towards upside. As for MU, so far finding some buyers here off this 156. Key level that I'd now like to see reclaim is going to be back above your 160. So I like to see the 160 break hold for this continued pushback towards the upside. So that's what we have for MU coming to market open. Let me go over some other names here as well. Went over open. Let's see. Intel, do you ever roll your positions? Yes. If you have a higher time frame thesis and you have a nice intraday trade, right, shorter expiration, you can always roll into a later expiration. CRWV. This one looks good. CRWV, you can see basing nicely here. Key levels that we have marked out, 124. You can see previous resistance now turning into support. Buyers are stepping in off this 124. Key levels that we're going to have marked out is now going to be your 136. You also have your 124 marked out, as I mentioned, and then we could just mark out equilibrium 130. So for CRWV, right, a few scenarios, either the break back above for a potential push up and towards your 136, or now it's really going to be the bounce off your 124 for this continuation higher. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go over my game plan once more really quickly. You guys already know what it is, but you can see Qs and markets are actually moving very nicely here. So yeah, pushing up nicely here. Let me see if they revised it. Yeah, it seems like markets pushing up nicely here with data that we just had, core PCE. Now the market's okay. Now it's changed just a little bit just because we're having a really solid push. We're above your previous day highs. We actually already filled this gap here as well. My main objective for today would have been this full gap fill, which would have been back up and towards your 596. But we're having this really solid push here in the pre-market. Next key levels that I have really is your 597.50. So today, I actually expect the markets to be fairly volatile just because now, right, core PCE pushing this back towards the upside. We're having a lot of pre-market action here. So we'll see what shapes up within the first kind of 15 to 30 minutes. But now key levels 594, and then we have your 597.50 here. So I didn't think this level was going to get gravitated towards, but that's basically your Monday's lows. Key level 597.50s, also your 594s. This is going to be your higher time frame key level here for the QQQ. So potential kind of pop and fade off your 597 is in play. As for upside, as I mentioned, key levels I have marked out 594 along with this 597 potential break above. Obviously, I don't like the scenario. So for longs, now it's either going to be the retest off of your previous day highs, or we're going to have to wait for kind of this push all the way back down and towards that 594. So those are the levels, at least for the SPY. Key level, as I mentioned, reclaim would be the 660. Now we're actually already having a nice push back up and towards your previous day lows. So for SPY coming to market open, key level is going to be the 660. 660 for a hold for a continuation higher. And then the next levels that I do have is your 662. So this is the level that I have here for the major indices coming to market open. Most likely by the time market does open, it's going to not be in this general area since we still have an hour left. So these are the levels that we just have marked out. You guys can go rewind this if you want to check that out. As for Tesla, key levels that we're going to have marked out 430. If you can break above your 430 hold, I'd be interested in potential kind of longs back towards the upside. AMD looks good if you can get above your 162 and hold above that level. So we'll keep an eye out on that. As for NVIDIA, key levels that we have 178 along with your previous day highs 180. Seems like Amazon's the one that's moving markets back. It probably has some news here as well. But for Amazon, key levels is your 221. At a minimum, Amazon is going to have to get above your previous day highs, 221 hold for a continuation towards the upside. But yeah, that's about it. We'll keep an eye out on the major indices coming to market open. As for the rest of the tech names, just keep an eye out on your previous day highs and other key levels here as well. It does seem like the market's reacting fairly nicely. We'll see if it holds up coming to market open. As for the other tickers, AVGO looks good for a potential bounce play. So keep an eye out on this one. Low risk off of your 332 for a potential kind of move back towards the upside. I do like other names like Intel here as well. And then you can also keep an eye out on Palantir. This one, higher time frames, does have room back up and towards your all-time highs. Key level is going to be this 178. You can be looking for now. It's primarily going to be a lot of opening range breaks since a lot of these ones are in between its middle of the ranges. So keep an eye on intraday price action, opening range breaks for a potential continued push back towards the upside. So yeah, that is going to be it for me today. If you guys did enjoy that, appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the daily watch list, that of course is in the description below. And if you guys haven't registered for the event that is coming up on Sunday, make sure to do that. That is, yeah, on Sunday at I think the times came out for that. But if you haven't registered for that, that one's in the description. You guys should be receiving emails. If you haven't, we'll talk a little bit more about that coming into a Sunday. So we'll talk about that tomorrow, and then we'll have the link for you guys on Sunday as well. But yeah, make sure to sign up for that, and I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you guys for that event on Sunday. If not, I will see you guys all next week as well. All right, take care, everyone. Have a good rest of the day. Peace.